Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Phay, and welcome to the channel. So why can't you hear a psychiatrist use the bathroom? Because the P is silent. Today, we're taking a look at Ultimate Railroads, Asian Railroads. Okay, folks, so as we continue this journey down the Ultimate Railroads box, it is now finally time to hit Asian Railroads. Now, Asian Railroads was the expansion that they actually added to the box. So Ultimate Railroads box had all the expansions, all the modules that have previously came out, but they actually created Asian Railroads for this box. So not only did we get a big box, but we got something new as well. So what I want to do in this video is I'm actually going to cover all the different components that Asian Railroads gives you. I'm going to talk about what those do and how those work, and then I'm going to give you my final thoughts. So to set up the game, the first thing we got to do is, well, we got to get all the components out. Now, there's a little bit different components for this one. A couple things aren't used, or at least one thing's not used. So you're going to set up the main board pretty much the exact same way that you've always done that before. Now, you're going to give every player the Asian board, and it's going to have a little icon showing the Asian symbol on it, okay? And you're going to notice that because it's actually going to have a couple of the extra tracks. So the top line, you can actually put 3 rails on it now, all right? You're going to take 3 maintenance tokens per player, and you're going to cover those extra tracks that are on the board. They'll have little dashed outlines, and you cover those up. You're also going to take 3 maintenance cards per player, and you're just going to put those in your little worker pool pile. Those you're going to be able to use later on the factory board, and I'll cover that here in a minute. Okay. Then what you're going to do is, well, you're going to take that factory board and you're going to put it on the side of the main game board, but make sure that everybody has access to it. Now you're going to take one of your little wrenches and you're going to put your little wrench on the 0 space of that. You're also going to notice that the main factory board that goes below your player board, you are not using one in this expansion. So that's going to be empty. We're now using this main factory board instead. Okay. You're going to take the new idea card. The new idea card is going to have 3 purple maintenance cards going to sit on top of it, and you're also going to put a gold coin on it. You also have an idea token that's going to have in your color, it's going to have like a little shield symbol, and you're also going to have a new overlay board that'll go across your bottom track if you choose to build that. Okay, so that's something new. So put those off to the side for now because you may be using those later on. Okay. Now, on the Asian player board, like I said, you're going to take those maintenance or those construction site tokens, and you're going to put those on your board on the 3 places that need them. Now, you're going to be able to remove those construction site tokens whenever you meet the criteria of one of the 3 spaces on your player board that's going to allow you to do that. Okay, so as soon as you meet that criteria, you can take any one of those construction tokens of your choice and you're going to be able to remove it. It's going to be gone from the game, but you're going to get one of 2 things. You're either going to get a wrench movement for the factory board or you're going to get a coin. Okay, but even after that, you now have another place that you can actually place a train. And the benefit is you can now have, like I said, 3 trains in the top line and you can have 2 trains on that middle line. Okay. Now there's some other benefits and stuff that you actually may see on this board as well. You may see there's a couple locations where you can put like your big +20 modifier bonus. Okay. That modifier bonus, when you put that on, there's only one place it can go. So if you potentially could say get another one, you already have it on there, you just wouldn't be able to get that. Okay. Now you do have the Osaka route upgrade. Okay. If you meet the criteria for that and you build a little idea token, what you're going to do is you're going to put that overlay on your board and you're going to take all of your brown tracks and you're going to take all of your green tracks and you're going to basically put them in the same place that they were on the main board, and you're going to put those on the overlay board and set it down. Doesn't mean you're going to gain instantly all the stuff that you've already passed, but it now means you can do more stuff. But what does it mean? It now means you actually can have all of the other rail lines on that bottom track. Because if you notice, without having that overlay on it, you can only have just the brown and the green lines. Well, now you can have all of the lines that can go down that track as well. You're also going to notice on that, at the very end, there's also a space, a number 8 space. And the reason that 8 space is there, so your brown track can go there, so your green track can get to that 7 space, so now you can meet the criteria for that. Now, one of the things, and I'm going to cover this more in my final thoughts too, is you're going to see some artwork for like the gold rail line and stuff underneath that. That is actually for that top line that wraps around the bottom. That's just the artwork that they printed on that overlay as well. Okay. You're going to have the industry board. Okay, now the industry board is basically replacing the factory boards. And now this is going to work a little bit different. So basically what happens is you still have the places where you have to put factories on the board, and you can't send your wrench down across those until you have factories there. But what you're going to do is when you can build a factory, you're going to take one of the factory tiles and you're going to overlay one of the pieces on that board that you want to. Okay. Now, if you put the factory over the top of another factory, you're going to be able to get what's underneath it. That's why when you see those factories, that's why they have symbols and stuff on it, because you're going to gain the bonus of what you just covered up. But you now have a factory that you can go over. On top of that, what you're going to do is when you place a factory, you're going to take one of your maintenance cars, you can put it on one of the different factory spaces on its side. All right. Now, if anybody's wrench ever goes to a location where you have a maintenance car on its side, you instantly get to stand it up. Now, those maintenance cars, they are additional workers that you can actually have in the game, and they're one-time use things. Now, there are ways that you can potentially get them back, okay, but it's basically an additional worker you're going to get in the future. So you kind of want to play those factories so you can actually get those other workers, okay? And you also notice when you go along that track, as your wrench hits those factories, then your wrench is going to trigger those abilities, and you're going to get those as well. Okay. And I think that's for the most part pretty much everything that there is. Like I said, there's a new idea card that's going to give you 3 purple maintenance trains, and what it's going to do is going to allow you to be able to give you 3 more trains that you can actually place on that board to eventually get you potentially 3 more workers in the game. Okay. But that's basically it. You're still playing the game like you normally would. All right. You have to pay really close attention to that factory board because there's a lot of stuff going on that factory board. And I'm going to cover some of the rules in the factory board more in my final thoughts. One of the main things is when you place a factory, okay, you're going to notice there's factories pre-printed on the board, and you can put one on the top of every single one of those. Well, once every one of those have been covered, you can now start covering them up with a second tile. But you can't put a third tile until, of course, you have the second tile all the way on. So it's actually really cool. And the nice thing is by placing the factories, you're going to be able to get the bonus underneath, which may trigger other bonuses. You may just get to, snake them along the lines. You know how we like to trigger one thing to trigger another thing to trigger another thing. But that's it. You're playing the game like normal. After however many turns it's going to be based on your player order, or not player order, but your player number. Okay. Whoever has the most points wins. Ultimate Railroads. Asian Railroads. Okay, folks, there you go. That's just a brief overview of what Asian Railroads is going to give you. And I'll tell you what, in this box, having all 4 of those expansions between Russian railroads, American railroads, German railroads, and now Asia railroads, each one of them plays so different, you have a lot to choose from, okay? But what do I think of Asian railroads compared to the other ones? And what do I think of Asian railroads in general? And that's the main reason why we're here today, okay? And I'll tell you right up front, this is probably going to be a big spoiler, but I think this might be my favorite one. German railroads is really good because I like those overlay tiles that you can get, but Asian railroads is really good. Now, I also think that Asian railroads is broken a little bit too, and I'm going to cover that a little bit more as well. Okay. Now, what do I really like about this one? I love the 3 different lines that you're going to be able to go down. That top line wraps around. There's like, what, 21, 22 spaces or something like that. Okay. You definitely are going to need the 3 trains to get there. I mean, if you can pick up a couple of 10s in that line, it's easy peasy, but otherwise you maybe just have 3 medium-sized ones to try to get there. All right. So I do like how that is a long track and it really wraps around. That medium track, the one just right down the middle, of course, you're going to get, some points off of that. And there's some good stuff you're going to be able to gain from that one. But that bottom one that has that overlay token, I actually really like that one. Okay. There's a lot of really good stuff you can get on that one, especially if you can get those green rail lines up and get those higher in the line and then get those bronze ones up, because the overlay token really starts working on those bronze ones. Now, one of the cool things about that overlay token is you notice that on the number 7 on that bottom line, it's going to cover, there's a wrench. Okay. So if you can get your brown train all the way to that end, you're going to trigger that wrench. All right. But if you notice when you put the overlay token down, the wrench is gone. It's no longer there. Okay. But if you look at that top line that wraps around, when you get to, what is it? I think it's space 17 on that one. Normally it's going to give you your gold line, plus it's going to give you 2 movement on the gold line. Well, now what it does is it also gives you a wrench. So theoretically, you can get a wrench from that bottom line with your brown car if you can get it to that end, put your overlay token down, okay, and now go down and get that gold wrench, and now you can get a second wrench as well. So it's just going to be one more opportunity where you can get those wrenches. Now those wrenches are going to do various things, okay? Like normal, they're going to be able to let you move a couple tracks. They may get you 10 points. But with the Asia expansion, one of the things they're going to do is they're going to help you get a maintenance car back if you want it, okay, which is just one more worker. Now, The maintenance cars, let me talk about that, and I'll talk about how the wrenches are going to work on it. The maintenance track's really cool because the maintenance track's going to get you those cars, those maintenance cars. And like I said, they go on their side on one of the factories. And as soon as a wrench shows up in any one of the factories, all the maintenance cars that are in that particular factory are now going to stand up. And you can use that at any time, or the player whose color has that maintenance car, okay? You don't have to use it this turn. You can use it on a later turn. But once you use it, then it's going to be done. There's a little spot on that on the factory board where that maintenance car is going to go, and it's used up, it's done. But if you use a wrench ability, okay, the third ability that wrench is going to do is it's going to allow you to take one of those maintenance cars, put it back into your player pool, and now you have that as a future worker that you can use just one more time. So it's going to give you one more use out of it. All right. Everyone's going to have 3 maintenance cars they can potentially put on that board, that maintenance board, to give them 3 more workers. But theoretically, you can have several more on top of that. And when you apply those workers to the 2 blue ones that you can potentially get, or even that little brown one that you can get through your idea cards, there's a lot of workers in this game that you can have. Okay, there is a ton going on. Now, one of the things I also found about Asia Railroads that I really like over the others too is because of that factory board, and it's a shared factory board, the abilities that you're going to get and the bonuses you're going to be able to get by placing those factories down. Okay, well, one of the things there is it's going to allow you to go, or it's going to want you to go through those trains a little bit more because you want to put the factories down on that, especially those first couple 3 early ones, man. There's a lot of track movement right there. So if you're the person that's like dropping factories on those first 3 really quick, you're moving your rails really, really fast. You got 3 of your maintenance guys out there. You're getting a lot more use out of your guys early on in the game that everybody's not getting. Okay, it's actually going to propel you ahead. And one of the last games I played, that's what one of the guys did, and oh my gosh, he blew us away in points. Everybody else was really close in points, but he was like 100 and some odd points ahead of us because he took all 3 of those intro factory spots. He had all those maintenance guys out there, so every time somebody got to one of those, he had another worker, and he had got so many points from that, especially moving up. I think it was his middle line was the main one that he was working. Okay, which is really cool. You know, and the other thing I forget about too on this one, if you actually look, that middle line and then your upper line, if you notice where they kind of meet in the silver is, if you can get one of your rail lines to that, you can actually unlock the silver through both of those lines. It's not just the top line. You're going to unlock the silver rails, which is actually really cool. Now, granted, you know, that top lines, you're going to unlock the silver if you go to the gold anyways, but you can unlock the silver early if you want to get your middle line down there. Very nice. Now, one of the things that I've noticed about this game is, or at least with Asia Railroads, is I think Asia Railroads is almost a little bit broken as well, because with the extra trains you're going to get, okay, because you're now going to have that one more train you're going to be able to get. You're going through trains a whole lot faster. So now a lot of those 8s, 9s, and definitely the 10s are coming out. When you start looking at those in-game bonus cards, okay, so when you get your idea token, that's going to allow you to gain one of your bonus cards, plus it's going to gain you one of those in-game bonus cards. The one with the trains is now huge. That is a lot of points right there, because if you can get that card, it's going to score your 4 top highest value trains. And if you can get 2 or 3 of those 10 trains on there, you're looking at pushing 40 points. And now if you can manage to also win the engineer reward and get another 40 points there, you're looking at potentially, anywhere from 70 to 80 points just on those 2 things at the end of the game, on top of whatever you just got in scoring on your board. And you're probably still scoring anywhere from 25 to 35 points on that factory board. Okay, a ton of points all over the place. I do like how that factory board does have the higher reward. And I also like how the factory board also has it to when your wrench gets to a certain spot, you can actually put another idea token down there, which is actually really cool. Now, the one thing about that factory board I didn't mention is you can actually have multiple wrenches on there. Now, each space can hold more than 1 wrench, all right? And you can even have 2 of your own wrenches on the same space. So you're not blocking anybody out from doing this or doing that. But you only get to do 1 idea token. If a second wrench gets through, it just gets you another wrench, okay, which is really cool. But there you go. I mean, there's a lot of good with this. I think some of the core Russian Railroads cards and stuff like that with this expansion, I think do get broken a little bit. But then again, some people think they're really, really broken. Other people use them as opportunities. So for me, it's like, I know what's in there, but those end game scoring cards, you're randomly getting rid of a couple of them anyways. at the beginning of the game. So you just might want to be the first one to get those tokens to go through that deck and say, which cards do I want? Do I want this card because it's 40 points, whereas this other one's only like 15, or I may be lucky to get 20. Okay, that's a lot of points at the end of the game, and this is a really high scoring game. Well, there you go. Okay, folks. That is Ultimate Railroads. That is the 4 different main expansions. I know there's some modules in here. I'm not really sure I'm going to cover the modules on this one because they're just littler modules. They're going to add stuff here and there. The coal one is probably the biggest one in there. But I'll tell you what, I have been having a blast playing Ultimate Railroads. I absolutely love this game. It's one of my favorite worker placement games. I love playing all 4 of the tracks. There's definitely some better than others, but I will still go back and I will still play any one of these at any time. If I'm teaching someone new how to play the game, it might just be core Russian railroads. If I'm, with my heavy gamers, it may be Asian railroads. It may be German railroads. I don't really know. They're all good. They're all a whole lot of fun. If you like Russian railroads, you've been on the fence, I think this is a fantastic box. I love the addition of the Asian railroads to this. I love the addition of the modules. If you just want to add that much more, super good, super fantastic. Ultimate Railroads. Oh man, I cannot recommend this game enough. Well, thank you once again for joining me today. As always, I please ask you to like this video on YouTube, Board Game Geek, Facebook, or even on X. Please leave me a comment on any one of those platforms, and I'll get to those comments just as soon as I can. And also, folks, if you like the videos that I do here, if you haven't done so already, I humbly ask you to click on that subscription button, and also click on the bell, let me notify when I drop new videos. And also, folks, if you like the videos I do here, I also post videos over on the Discriminating Gamers channel. Over there, we'll do some unboxings, playthroughs, and reviews. I'll leave a link to Cody's channel down in the details below. So do you remember that joke I told you about the chiropractor? It was about a week back.